We are so delighted today to welcome Robert Shaw and Bob Shaw and Gertrude Shaw to AZ Diner. We are celebrating their 68th year anniversary. Applause, everyone, please. Woo! What an amazing accomplishment. Thank you so much for being here. Today we're celebrating you, but before that we have three questions. Three questions for you. First is, can you describe how you met?
Yes, we met in Kingston, Ontario, Canada, and we met because Trudy was going out with my friend, and he decided to join the Canadian Air Force, and he unfortunately made a mistake and got another girl pregnant. And so Trudy was through at that time, and since she knew me, because she and her family lived on a farm that was just 100 yards away from a farm that my father bought that we lived on in the Canadian town of Bath, Ontario, a very old town. And we started going out to hockey games. And he'd asked me to actually take her out, not thinking that he would eventually have to admit that he got another girl pregnant. And so that was it. So he sent his engagement ring back and called me up and said, let's go to a movie. And so things took off from there, and she said that, what did you tell me, that you had her eye on me for a long time.
Okay.
So it worked out beautiful.
Trudy, any additional comments or color commentary you have to Bob's story? Is all of it true?
I think he has given you a pretty good picture of how it worked. One of the first times four of us went out together, I got pushed really close to him, and it made me think of it. And then he kissed me goodnight one time, and that made me really think of it. But it's worked out.
Wonderful. And Bob, how many children do you have? Grandchildren, great-grandchildren? Can you share with us?
Yes, unfortunately we lost our son because he caught a problem and he passed away in his early or late 50s. The remainder, you met the oldest of our children, Nadine, and we have another daughter, so we now have just two daughters left. They're both great gals. Yvette, as we call the second gal, actually lives in San Diego at the present time. She's thinking of coming up here, which we would be very happy, and so would my daughter Nadine, whom we met earlier, because Nadine has been so active with us. It's just amazing how she's helped out. But it's getting difficult for her because she's also managing the two great-grandchildren, and that takes up a lot of her time. One of them is in kindergarten school right now. The other one is 2.5, and he'll be in kindergarten next year. So her taking care of the two children has allowed our grandchildren to both work and earn good money, and they've been able to buy a house, which is wonderful because they bought the house just before the prices jumped up. So we're very happy about that.
Excellent. All right. Second question for you is, what is the secret to the longevity of marriage? 68 years. It's unbelievable.
Well, I think it's appropriate that I let my wife tell you that, because I'm not the easiest guy to live with, but we made it through the rough times, and so I'm going to let Trudy give you her version of that.
Okay.
Okay. I think one reason we've been together this long is we're very pernickety about our meals. There must be so much protein involved and so much vegetables. And when we have arguments, I usually just let him have the floor, unless it's really something that gets me.
Short and sweet, wonderful.
And I'll just add flexibility. You can never live with a person as long as we have lived without having some rough times. But we always manage to get through them. But I will also tell you, Trudy has her edge too. And I remember distinctly living in Sacramento area, and we're about 4 or 5 miles from home, and she was disturbed at me for something I don't even remember now. And she got out of the car and said, "I'm going to walk home." And she wouldn't let me pick her up. She walked the whole way home. She got dressed and went to work and worked her afternoon shift at the hospital. Came home, and I was so humbled that I said, "You're right this time forever."
That is the true secret right there. Okay, third and final question, which is, if you can change one thing about your partner, what would it be? All right, Trudy, I'm going to let you go first.
One thing I change is no lipstick in this family.
Okay, no lipstick. All right. Bob.
Too many things.
Only one thing. You had only one thing, okay?
Yeah, she's a very quiet-spoken person, and I can be dogmatic, and dogmatic means I probably raise my voice a little bit, and that irritates her even worse. And so sometimes, whereas I will be forgiving pretty quick, realizing that it's more important to live together than to separate and do the things that people do. So I've always worked with the thought that it's better to give in and be wrong rather than be right and cause problems. So I think that's the way I function most of my life. But I am a dogmatic Briton. I was born in the UK, and most British people are pretty outspoken. Like, they fought 2 world wars against Germany as an example, and they weren't strong enough to defeat Germany, particularly in the Second World War, because the American government, because of the attack on Pearl Harbor, took British side, and they helped Britain win the Second World War and defeat Germany. Now, my best friend today, believe it or not, is a German-born gentleman who immigrated to the United States, and he's a fantastic individual. I'd like to talk about him a little, but first I've got to say that we've made it very well in the world, because I was promoted in the financial industry and did very well, and my wife Trudy had been a nurse ever since she was 21, and she got a job here. Her leadership in nursing is worth mentioning. She would have liked to work here in Arizona on a relief basis to help married nurses get time off so that they can fulfill their work with their husband and children. It didn't work out that way because Arizona saw not to give her a license. And so she's been unable to do that work here, but she's a hell of a good nurse, believe me. And if you have any problems, she'll talk to you and she'll give you good advice, free.
Wonderful. All right. So with that, I just want to reiterate our congratulations to you on your 68th anniversary. You are now, if I may, 90 years old, is that correct?
I am 90 and a half.
90 and a half, and Trudy, you are 89, is that correct?
2 months I'll be 90.
2 months you'll be 90. What a blessing it is. So we are just so honored to be able to celebrate today with you. And now we're going to transition over to vow renewal. Is that right? All right. With that, we have Pastor Gwen. If I may introduce you into the picture, please.